The agenda as presented. Are there any errors or omissions, amendments? No? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carried. We have no delegations, no discussion items, and no bylaws for discussion, so we move to staff report. Item 7.1, BI report, CFO Bhalla. This way for a change. Can you see all right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's fine.
Okay. The machine that goes ping.
Oh, excuse me. Danielle, are you going to phone Nadine?
Yes. Sorry.
That was just a
I had
message.
her
I'll
ready.
hold off for a second. But
Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. I had her ready to go and then I got sidetracked.
I like your little graphic in the corner there.
Hello, Councillor Davenport. It's Mayor Roden and Daniela and Councillor Anstead, Councillor Tui, Yogi, Brian, Miss Mertens, and Gareth. So I'm just got you on speaker on cell phone. I'm going to put you here and.
Great, hello all.
Hello.
Oh,
If you have anything you want to say, Councillor Davenport, just say that you've got a question or you've got a comment, and then we'll make sure that that we don't pass you by.
Okay, thanks, Aaron.
okay, I'm doing a quick BI update of the financials for the year end. By next time, hopefully we can have Microsoft Teams up and running and you can see it as we move along. So I have the tech guy coming in and doing the server thing this Thursday again. It didn't quite take last week when he was here, or last week when he was here, he didn't quite get it right. So we don't have it yet, but it should be. So we've had to change some of our packages, as you all know, to allow for electronic meetings. Going from there, and there's procedure bylaw changes as well. So this is the financial update for the whole year. Audit is done. Unfortunately, the auditor can't make it on Wednesday, so I will be presenting the audit findings. We have a clear opinion, but I'll just work in his stead and present everything, and just go over a meeting on Wednesday. The financial update. So we had a year in review. We had a successful year. Got lots done, and kept everything going, and the finances were good. The projects were good. We didn't receive some funding, or some funding got pushed back to the next year. Hopefully this year we can carry on with some of the project, but as you know, some of the things are up in the air, right? So we'll try our best to move forward. The water treatment plant was under budget. We got the extension granted because we didn't want to give the money back. Got the scope increased to use the budget, which was about 750, 800,000 was our surplus. So project reports are in, the key reports they want, they've been approved, and 1.35 million payment is in the process of being released. So one of the things we had concern about going forward was the cash flow is adequate, and it is. We have about 890K, 900 in the bank, 1.3 mil coming through, and we've got the short-term loan credit facility up to 3 million is left. We've borrowed 1, but up to 3 million is left. So no worries about the cash flow through this period. Village operations will continue, and the essential services will continue. So that is under control. So okay, I should pause at this time. Any questions about this year? It's been really busy, as you all know, and lots of projects going through. Sewage treatment plant is also finished, and funding, all the fundings received and closed off and audited and all of that. So those were the two big ones. Then there were lots of smaller projects as well. ECTEV stuff, which got, we just received the check last week. So all this stuff is under control. We were lucky to get through our audit quickly. I don't know why I felt this year I needed to rush. Maybe it was we got all of that done, and fortunate because now the auditors are not coming out, right? So we are in good position to move forward and keep moving forward. So that is good. Any questions regarding this last year?
Can you hear everything all right, Councillor Davenport?
Yes, very good, thank you.
Okay.
I talk loud as it is, right? So.
All good.
Okay, so moving forward to what we are working on. So we are in a unique position that we are one of the few communities which is using BI to give you the reports. And I like to take it to the next level where I set up an app to push reports out to councillors automatically, and you'll see what that looks like. It's a better navigation interface, and it'll get pushed out, as in you won't have to go to a website to retrieve it. It'll get pushed out on your computers. There's some licensing considerations for Microsoft for that, which we are dealing with, and we've had to anyway with so I'm kind of rolling it into it. The other thing which I've been very keen on is being more transparent, in the sense that I like some of these BI reports accessible to the public. We have nothing to hide, but the way the licensing is structured right now, it costs a lot to get that public feature in there, right? Like it's, the last I looked was $7,000 just to have that, 5 to 7, depending on the size of. What I figured out is another way to do it, a shortcut around it, which falls into the, I'm not disobeying any of Microsoft's licensing, but and I will be working to try and implement that, and I think that puts us in the forefront of most communities in order, we've always had the printed reports, but these are not, like you've noticed, these are not very readable for a typical person. Having the BI reports out there, and that's been one of requests, is going to make it more readable, and maybe, lead to better questions, which we are happy to answer as well, right? So that's the work I'll be doing when things are, all the rest of the things are coming to a halt. I'll be working in the background to do a lot of this. The other thing I'd like to work on is making the asset management reports live. And by that I mean, right, linked to every time I print those reports, and you saw those 100-page reports, they were thick reports. Part of the target audience is the province and the federal government to give us further grants. And I think we've been quite successful because we have that. I'd like to make it so that it's linked to the database so that the information isn't out of date. So if, for example, right now our assets say we have $52 million in our assets, water treatment plant is just going to go from work in progress after this audit to, in 2020, to actual assets. That shoots up the assets by $10 million, approximately $8-9 million. That needs to be reflected and immediately. So I'm trying to make the reports live so they link directly to the database. So if anything changes, we add a new pipe, we do anything, it automatically refreshes. It's not a trivial task, but that's my goal, and just to make it work that way. And then improving GIS functionality, that's the mapping functionality. And I'll show you a new map I set up because it came about by Tony, a building inspector, asking, one of his clients came and they wanted to see, how to do their footprint and whether they had enough setbacks. Typically, the paper process is they got to get the plan, they got to photocopy it, write the dimensions. How do you do the scale? So I've set out the website which automatically pulls that up and pulls the cadastre information, and then they can draw. So it's a simple tool. The regional district has one, but it's a little bit, I don't want to criticize, but a little bit cluttered. So it's something simple for the public to use. My philosophy is keep it simple. as much as possible, so it's usable. So we already had a trial run with this person asking Tony, and came and I showed it, so it worked. So it makes me feel good when somebody's using it right away. So that's something I want to show as well. Hopefully our website isn't too slow. So I'm going to switch to our website. And quickly, maybe I'll do financial reports first. How's that? And then we'll do the map right at the end, because that's something I like to cover for the year. Switching over, let's get this. Okay, the problem with this is that it doesn't look as big as it should. Okay, so this is all our funds. Our variance is positive of everything in there. We are about $879,000 positive. And that $879,000 will go into the reserves to pay off our loan next year. So unless, next year we end up in a situation where we've had to, I'll keep the loan open, but my intention is hopefully to pay off our debts and, take that additional weight off the village, which can be used for operational purposes. Interest rates are now going down rapidly. So again, things are changing faster than, interest rates were on the uptrend quite a bit, right? So now the situation's completely changed. And I think I'll be a little more conservative, not that I'm not conservative anyway, but a little bit more going forward. So that number way down there is 879. I'll make it bigger for the audience. Is that visible? Tiny, okay. When these reports, yeah, so it says 879 positive, okay? So that's everything. The thing to point out as in our reports, what are the negatives? Sewage system says it's got a variance to budget of 1.2. That's the projects. Money went. This year was a difficult year for auditors and myself to get all the finances in order because so much was going on, right? And you've got, when our operations are 4 million and you've got 15 million of dollars moving for projects back and forth, it makes it. But overall, things are green. This one was just transfers to the sewage system. I'll focus on each fund. And this one was conditional transfers from other. Those are government transfers coming in. Don't worry so much as the variance to budget, because budget went, with so much budgeted for projects, it looks the real bottom line is that we're 879,000 over. So everything is highlighted here. I'm going to move to just general operating fund. That was surplus of 184,000, 185 approximately. Okay, so, and here the conditional transfers are the ones showing, and I'm just going to click on it and it just I'll sort it by variance. So, and the lowest on top. New deal gas tax had a 255,000 negative variance, and that's because that budget is transferred into reserves automatically, so we got about 190,000 from them, but this shows because it's transfers, and transfers are eliminated by, after the fact. That's why it shows negative. So when the money comes in, on another account, it goes out at the same time. So that's why value is 0, because we zero it out every year and put it into our reserves, okay? So I'm trying to explain some of the big variances. Hot tub project, we got nothing this year. The application is in progress, right? That's all I can say for that. And, hopefully this year, let's see what happens. So those are the biggest ones. The others are just transfers. So these transfers throw the numbers off. They're required under the fund accounting method. So when I do monthly budgets, these reports for you, I take out some of those accounts so it doesn't look, so you actually look at the operations without these transfers back and forth, which we are required to do, right? So that's the conditional. The other one was environmental, and there the big red one up there is our vehicle, O&M, and we had a negative 32,000 variance, and that's our garbage, truck having repair issues, right? And it's a structural thing with that garbage truck. Every 5 years we get a dinged for that. And that just, it hit us this year, and we have to redo something. That's just the way that truck is constructed. The other one, environmental health services. That through the garbage truck, sorry, I'll switch over. This is transfers from miscellaneous EV charger grant. It shows a minus 102 variance. I'll make it bigger. How's that? Minus 102 because we didn't get any EV charger money, right? That's why that variance is. So that covers most of the negative variances. The others are kind of even, and other transfers again, that's not, the rest is pretty much green, or what color would this be? Teal? What with yellow? So we're good. So I'm going to switch to sewer operating fund, and I think my screen has frozen on the other end. Talking away, but I will try and reconnect. No, it's refusing to.
Doesn't want to play.
Not connected. And connect. Disconnect.
You went black.
Connect again. Bluetooth is turned off. Give me a second. Bluetooth on. Connect. Come on, wake up, TV. There we go. Success. Okay. Sorry about that. Kids are home, so. Okay, sewer operating fund balance is minus 39,500, so pretty much even. Okay, so that's just balancing the accounts, taking care of the project and getting all the figures in there. Similarly and this shows red because it has that $1.3 million variance in the transfers, the planning grants and all of that. So we got 300, so that's just budget variances, it's not actual. It's not, so it's the timing of when the money flowed for the sewer project. Okay, that's why it's showing it off. Overall, the actual are only negative by 38,000. Water operating fund, we are 734,000 over. Primary, that's where the overage is, and that's going to be used to pay off the loan. If not, if I feel it's okay to do it without taking additional risk on. Okay, prudent or not. Okay, that's the year in review. Lots of color, but really, we've done extremely well. We've, fortunately been able to manage things, just tied in well enough to get everything done reasonably well, and hopefully this next year can be as successful on the financial front. We shall see what we can do moving forward as well. And there's a number of large projects coming up. I don't know whether we'll be able to get the crew for the larger ones, but hopefully some of the smaller ones and the community ones we can get done. Any questions?
No, excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't show you the graphs while you were there. We were having technical difficulties here anyway.
I have a good imagination.
They're green and red.
No, mostly green. Red is a sliver. Just saying. Okay, I'll shift into the new map I've created. So the GIS system keeps progressing for the municipality. And I'll open our website. Go to our, so you can actually see, how can I make this full screen? Anyway, it's 1 second, there. All right, under services, there's a village maps, GIS. You've already seen the parcel and utility maps, which are, you can search things, look at things. This is the new map I've put in place. And I would like to enhance it with search functionality if that would be the next step. Because people need to first identify which parcel they're on. So right now they have to go to the other map, do a search, and then look at a similar shape. Say you are this parcel, here's the tool which lets you draw, polyline measure tool. So you just click and you can draw.
Ah, cool.
So that's how you get the footprint. And you can get from the closest, so let me go, I don't have a mouse, this requires. So if the building inspector wanted to see whether you have enough setback, you can click here, get a distance. You're at 5.6. So,
Yeah.
They can quickly, you're able to print it. So keep it simple. And if you've looked at TNRD, it's a whole different way of printing. You just print through the normal interface print, and you can print this. And go landscape because it goes to the corner usually. So there it is, right?
Huh.
You can print it. I was quite zoomed in. You have to zoom out, but you can print it as normal. The best part is, and I'm going to zoom out a bit. Oh, I need a mouse. Try again. Oh, the wrong way. Okay, I'll stop playing. Without a mouse, it's not as easy. The best thing is you can save it. Save page as. Whatever you want to do, web maps, whatever, it saves it. It creates a Explorer link or a Chrome link and a folder with all the files, so you can save your drawing. You can bring it up, bring it to the building inspector and show it.
Oh, cool.
So it eases that part of it. TNRD does this, but they do it mainly for areas outside village jurisdiction. You can, and it's a canned product, right? This we built for ourselves. It's very simple. There's only one little arrow to click, and you can also move around things afterwards. You can, just good functionality in it, but really simple. At some point, I'll start making videos. I'll have to use someone else in the video, maybe Brian, but but no, just do some videos on how to use it and some help.
Oh, yeah,
That'll
yeah.
build, for people just wanting to know how to
Yeah.
use it. So that's the other map. You've already seen this one, parcel and utility map. I've shown, I'll quickly show it again. Pulls up everything from our database, what we can share, our wastewater, our potable water lines, our storm water lines, the parcel maps. And you can click on the parcel and tell you what it is, right? All of those. And you remember seeing this? I just made it now. I've implemented it for
So
everything.
it's on the.
It's on the website.
Cool.
And then you can look at the property assessment rather than pulling it in. You click on it, it takes you to the property assessment site. You can search it and go
Oh,
from there.
wow.
You can look at our garbage collection schedule, which is very simple. We don't have a particular, collection. But all of this stuff, which is, what the bigger municipalities are paying quite a bit to set up. So we've gotten it done using open source and not costing us anything. Other than, of course, my time. We've got zoning as well. We've got cemetery as well. And cemetery is way down. I've got everything highlighted, so, whoops. Okay, how do I go? I should always get them And I will get the zoning off, parcel map off, so you can see the cemetery. Whoops, the other way.
Anyway,
So these are all the cemetery plots. You can search by address for people. You can also search by address for the cemetery or by name. So anybody wanting to do genealogy research, you type whatever with a A, it'll pull up everything with a A. So it'll go right to which cemetery it is. Same with address, you can search by address. You can go, 4, anything 4 or 5, and I'll pop up everything with 4 or 5 in there. Cedar Crescent, and it'll take you to that property. And if you have the parcel map highlighted, you could see which property it is, right? And then as time, as things develop more, we'll have the connections as well, so you can actually see where the connections are. You can take an imagery view, and it's only at a certain magnification because it's based on Esri images. So let me try and zoom out. Okay, the other way. And
it's Belle Tashima's house.
and you can see actually the imagery. Okay. Now it doesn't go. We haven't run any drone image capturing, so we can get more detail, but that's expensive proposition. As time goes by, we look for things like we're just picking up LiDAR from the province. Ways to we can't the drone thing. I think I got somebody offered, a company offered for $40,000. Yeah, just $40,000. We'll run a drone. No, thank you. So as time goes by, we look at ways to get it for free or for cheap. That's the whole idea behind,
I love how you can see where the Kinsman trails used to be.
Yes.
It's like the Nazca lines or whatever,
right, and then
only from the air.
you've seen the tourist map. I haven't put it up yet because I need to go around and take pictures. It's spring, and at some point, if things slow down a little, wow, is it ever?
Yeah.
Boring. It's hailing.
Oh,
like
hailing.
crazy.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So I'll get that up too at some point, hopefully this year, get those images in and get it so that we have trails and everything up there as well. So. Okay, that's for, how am I doing for time? 6:29. Any questions?
What do some of the symbols mean? Like there's an oil mule
Oh,
there.
it's what, I've highlighted all these things here, right? So if you're looking at, maybe it's wastewater symbols, right? So I've made symbology for each. So if I clicked on that, it would say, it's a clean out fitting number 7. I made a symbology for the clean out fitting. It's in wastewater and type is unidentified. Like, there's no type information, but that's the particular ID of it. It's a clean out fitting number 7. So things like, so the symbology clicks on, so now I've just clicked on a parcel and it's giving you parcel. So typically, if somebody's using it, they'll only have one thing selected because they're looking for one thing. And then, I would suggest they go on the OpenStreetMaps rather than images, then they can see it more clearly. So we have that selected, a manhole, and it's in that area.
Right.
Okay. So this is the way of, and this ties back to the database. It's all integrated, spatially integrated, which means the database itself has the cost and the depreciation and the current replacement value and all those things in there, condition, everything. This is just mapping that, where is that asset, and some information. I didn't want to overwhelm with too much information here. There's only certain information which is useful. So that's what's up there. I have to make a judgment on what's useful or not. But the database has all the details. That's it for me.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any comments, questions? Again, thank you for that. It's, I'll have to go check that out. Fantastic. Yeah. Councillor Davenport, did you have any comments or questions?
No, Mayor Roden, thank you, Yogi. CFO or Bhalla for doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Now, just a question about, I know you have talked in the past, like last year, you were talking about the possibility of looking at the loans. We have the two for the fire engine and we have the one for the water treatment plant. And so you're still thinking that there might come a time when we could pay them both off in full and free up the money for...
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where the surplus is, 734 for the water was going, and as well as, it'll go into the surplus account. And the thing is now I'll be a bit more conservative in paying things off because, conditions now, we need to have bigger cushions, right? The fire truck, we have a reserve of 335 set aside already. The loan is about 350, 360. That pretty much offsets, so that's going to get paid off this year. So the water, the 1 million, I might carry it a little bit. The interest costs have declined even more. But at some point, we want to be free of the loans. And we've got projects coming, so it's up in the air right now. But once things settle a bit, I would like to get that. Because every time, you make basically in costs, you make up my wage easily by doing that, right? And that becomes, that money becomes available for operational purposes, for, moving the village forward and doing things rather than paying interest. So even though the rates are low, I consider, that money being used for just the interest rather than for operational consideration. So when we can, we will, but a little more conservatively at this juncture.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? And we will have time for questions from the public at the end of all three of these staff reports. So anything else from council? All right, item 7.2, council procedure bylaw number 834/2020. So discussion about this, so it's the one change to the electronic participation in meetings. Right now, our procedure bylaw does not allow for it. We had allowed for it one person, that we had to have a quorum physically present in one place, and only one member of council could phone into a given meeting. There was a phone call last week between all the mayors and Minister Dix and Dr. Bonnie Henry, and questions afterwards. Something that came up was the need for the BC government to allow municipalities to make changes to how they conduct their meetings without having to go through the process of amending their procedures by law, because it is very time consuming and cumbersome. And we happen to, just by pure fluke, be at the stage where we can make this change quickly and nimbly. Most other municipalities are not. So there is talk that the province is going to bring down some kind of legislation or permission that will allow municipal governments to, in an extraordinary circumstance, whatever your procedures bylaw says, allow all members of council to phone into a meeting. You don't have to have a quorum physically present, etc. But that is not yet in place. That will probably only be for maybe this specific situation. So that still leaves councils, municipalities in the position of having to incorporate this sort of event into their procedures bylaw long term. So this will do that. So is there any discussion about this proposed change to the procedures bylaw?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Councillor Davenport, did you have anything?
No, Mayor Rowan, thank you.
Okay.
And if I may, Mayor Roden, if you, on page 31 of your regular agenda, the highlighted yellow piece is the only change.
Yep, that's in that.
Yep. I mean, the city of Kamloops, as it stands right now, does not allow for any electronic participation in their meetings, and they've actually canceled their council meeting for tomorrow. That was scheduled for tomorrow, because I don't know if, I think they were worried that they would not have a quorum. So I think this allows, it's just a pure fluke, we're in the position where we can do this at this time, but it's good that we're able to and incorporate this in so that if it ever happens again, heaven forbid that it will, we'll be able to adapt quickly. CFO Bhalla.
Your Worship, I'm moving forward to get the electronic infrastructure in place. So Jeff from Kamloops Computer is going to be in this week and setting up the Microsoft Teams and to kind of train the trainer thing.
Right.
We'll figure it out. If not the Zoom meetings, but Microsoft has its security, right? Security level. So we rather
okay.
use that, and we kind of pay for it in our setup. It's free for us. So we should have that running this week. He did come last week, but the packages needed to be changed completely, so it took him a little bit longer. But we should have this. So if this is approved and moves forward, we'll be in a position to start doing electronic meetings.
Okay. Thank you. And item 7.3, council committee appointments. Here is the list. Is everyone, first of all, happy with the appointments with the committees that they are currently on? I think we need to just alter the healthcare committee to reflect that it is the Wellness and Health Action Coalition that has specifically asked us for a representative on their committee. Because I think one of the issues we have had is that healthcare is rather broad and could mean any number of different organizations in the community. But we have been specifically asked to have a member on that board. So, and then the other one is the hub, the Ashcroft hub, which has specifically asked for someone to be on their board representing council.
Mayor Roden, if I may, I do believe that Councillor Anderson did want to be removed as the regular for the health
Yes.
committee.
So that will be Councillor Tui, I believe you, they asked specifically for you to be on the WAC group, so.
Yeah, for that.
Okay. So I think that what we would probably do with that, I think Councillor Anderson is amenable to being the alternate. She just does not want to be the appointee.
Okay. So that would entail both?
What?
It would be the,
I think that is just for the healthcare.
yeah,
Yeah, they're the, what will now be the WAC,
okay, not one.
or the Hawk.
Hawk.
Hawk, yes. Councillor Tui.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. So the healthcare then will be just Hawk, or will that be for any other healthcare issues?
I think it would be up to individual councillors if they wanted to, for example, go to the Thompson View Lodge Society meetings, which is healthcare related. And then if they wanted to, in their written report to council, could then say, I went to such and such a meeting.
Oh.
But we have no official standing there. You would simply
Right.
be going as an interested person and reporting back to council. These are all ones that we have been asked to have a representative.
Right, okay.
The other thing to bring up on this, and CEO Dick, if you could just maybe look this up. Historic Hat Creek, or the Friends of Historic Hat Creek, is asking if we could send a letter to them officially stating who is the appointee, the statutory appointee from the Village of Ashcroft, and who is our alternate. Now, I believe that that was done after the election in 2018, but they cannot find the letter.
Okay.
So there are no changes to the appointees, they are in the alternate, they just want to have something more formal for their records, and they can't put their hands on it, so.
Okay.
So, apart from those couple of changes, is everyone happy with this list of committees, appointments, etc.? Okay. And we can just check with Councillor Anderson and make sure that she is in agreement with all this.
Just a question I missed. Who is the alternate for the Hub Online?
Councillor Anderson.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we can change the historic Hat Creek, the board chair, the new board chair, Jack Jays has confirmed that alternates are permitted. And they can also go to meetings if they want to, even if I'm going to the meeting, Councillor Anderson can come with me if she wants to sit and just listen and see if we can get up to speed with what's going on. So.
Excellent.
All right, any other discussion on the list of committee appointments? All right, okay, thank you very much. All right, so we move on to question period. Questions? Yes, if you could please.
So are we getting another kick at the can at the procedure bylaw, is that my understanding, or are we only allowed to talk about the amendments that you are considering?
It's only this, we rescinded third reading, we had given it third reading, we are now going to, in the council meeting, give it third reading again, if these proposals are, if this is accepted, and then it will
So can I
proceed.
suggest changes, other changes besides that?
No,
No.
because that, we've already had that, this is just a public to talk about the change that's proposed. We have had public meetings to discuss other things, like, for example, you said about the releasing the agenda, instead of on the Monday, you suggested it should be on the Friday, things like that. So we've already had that. So if we were to go through and make more changes, we would have to take it back a couple of stages and bring it forward again.
Unfortunately. I have many suggestions.
Okay? No, the time for that we've already passed that period. That would have been at what, second reading? Yeah.
But aren't second and third reading often the same date?
Not, or the,
If I may,
okay, see you did.
for sometimes you can take a bylaw to first, second, and third reading all at once. There are certain bylaws, OCP, zoning, and council procedures that you cannot. So we separated all of our readings. We had first reading, and then we had a committee of the whole discussion meeting where we had this available. Then we took it to second reading and implemented all of the suggestions from the committee of the whole and the second reading, and then we brought it back for third reading. But then obviously we realized we needed to make a provision for video conferencing, this kind of situation. So we rescinded third reading, and now we're rereading third after we've got some consultation.
So what we would have to rescind second, go back and rescind second reading, correct? To make changes, but that time period's already passed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this, okay, so this discussion is just for the proposed change to accommodate an extraordinary situation such as the one we find ourselves in right now. So is there any discussion on this proposed change to the procedures bylaw? No? Okay, and any other questions from the public on the BI report or the committee appointments?
So just with regards to that bylaw, there is an error, a couple of errors. One's a spelling mistake and one is a section mistake, so can I share that with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, on page 48, under section 65.2, it should say in the point section 57.1 and not section 56.1.
Thank you.
And at the very end, the word third is incorrectly spelled. Third reading.
Okay, and anything else? Any other questions on, yeah, Mr. Smart?
Would the proposed, if it gets to the point where council goes into phone communication, would there be space for the media to be a part of that?
CFO Bhalla?
We're hoping you can be the part of that, because recording it and putting it up really helps us disseminate public information. We are getting the level of package which lets us record the meetings too, just in case something happens and we can't do that. But we are hoping you can be there. This is a fantastic resource, and lets us make our meetings as public as we can, despite the situation.
I guess I'm just making sure that there's room or a provision in there that adds media to be able to be a part of that.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, what that would look like if we're not all in the same room, I don't know, but
Yeah, for sure.
I might need the media's help to see what it looks like.
Still doing.
And what better.
One last question. For the mapping, is it just Ashcroft that has this type of map, or is it something that was found through another municipality?
You know, we built it from scratch. I've built it using open source. Other municipalities have departments doing this. And it's only the larger ones which can do it, or regional districts. So we've been able to do it without using that and having, you know, the big municipalities will have mapping, then they have staff ranging from 25 people to, you know, whatever, doing this. So we're doing it in a totally different way. It had to be structured in a way which was possible, one person to pull it together. And so yeah, no other small municipalities are at this level, and we'd like to lead in that and lead in the transparency and you know, ability to do this. The mapping is quite useful. So the municipalities, smaller municipalities I've seen do this have generally asked their regional district to do it, and you know, help to. We are one of the few ones this size being able to do it at this level. Actually, the only one. Really.
That was very cool.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. And any other questions? No? No other questions? All right, and anything else from council? Councillor Davenport, anything else you wanted to interject before we close the committee of the whole meeting?
No, thank you, Marilyn.
Okay. All right. Well, seeing no other questions, comments, I move to terminate this meeting, this committee of the whole meeting. Second, Councillor Tui, all in favor? Opposed, carried.